Hey everyone, this is Renee Frey from Talent Q, and you're listening to the Conscious Professional Podcast. More people than ever want to be happy in their career and personal life, but they're going about it all wrong. I'm here to set the record straight and emphasize the importance of prioritizing your mindset. I'm thrilled you're here. I just got back from a whirlwind trip to New York City. My brother-in-law and his two daughters were on vacation there from the Netherlands. Even though my calendar is chock full, we made time to break away and meet up with them in New York City. New York is one of my most favorite cities in the United States. What I love most is the diversity of the people who are there. So many different people. I love hearing people speak different languages. I also love that you have anything you could ever want to do right there at your fingertips. A Broadway show, historic sites, all the best restaurants. Oh, and I just love everything about it. To make our trip happen, we had to leave on an early flight out. We stayed 3 nights and jetted back on a 6 a.m. flight because we already had existing plans with some friends up north to celebrate one of my best friend's birthdays. On Saturday, we left New York only having 2 hours of sleep. Then I slept 1 hour on the plane, and we drove 1 hour to our house, dropped off the kids with grandma, and drove 3 hours north to Nisswa. It was a complete whirlwind. Now, I am not a Red Bull drinker because my husband prohibits it. It's the only rule he has for me. And I'm totally kidding. Sort of. There is actually a great story behind this. This came out of a time a few years ago when we were boating with some friends over the weekend. We were staying at Treasure Island Marina, and I was feeling tired. It was around dinner time. We were all getting ready to go out to dinner. And I mentioned to my friend Anne, who was in the boat next to us, that I was feeling fatigued. And she had asked if I wanted a Red Bull and handed one over to me. I drank it down and we headed out to the restaurant. Well, after dinner, we invited everyone on our boat for cocktails and to play some games. Next thing you know, it's 5:30 in the morning. Dustin is like, Renee, it's time to shut it down. It's time to go to bed. And I was like, hell no. I still had so much energy. I was still having so much fun. And I told him, I said, oh, it must have been the Red Bull that I had. And he said, you drank a Red Bull? And I was like, yeah, Anne gave me one before dinner, before we left. And he was like, oh my God, Renee, you have plenty of energy, Renee. You don't need any more energy. You don't need Red Bull. So this was the joke the next day. Everyone was prohibited from giving me a Red Bull ever again. It was hilarious. I actually took him literally, and I hadn't drank a Red Bull since that night a few years ago. But when we got back in the car from our house after dropping off the kids and we were heading up to Nisswa, I said, is it all right if I have a Red Bull? And he was like, of course, I expect you to. How else are you going to make it through this day? And I was just laughing because I'm usually a ball of energy, but in these rare instances, I sometimes need a little pick-me-up too. So we were up in Nisswa staying at a place on Gull Lake. We went to have lunch and we took the pontoon to a lakeside restaurant. As we were walking to get a table, I hear someone yell, Dustin! And I totally knew the voice. I totally recognized it. It was Troy, a really good friend of ours. We were so thrilled to see him. Couldn't believe we ran into him way up north. I was wearing a Grace Folly trucker hat with a flat bill, and it had great coloring like a sunset and a flamingo on it. I love this hat. I love the colors, and it makes me feel super young when I wear it. Troy said he recognized Dustin because he wasn't wearing a hat. I was the one wearing a hat. And as we were walking away from our conversation with Troy, Troy says, that's the ugliest hat I've ever seen, Renee. And when I heard him say that, I thought, whatever, you're not wearing it. I kind of rolled his comment right over my shoulder and I just kept walking. Now I know Dustin, my husband, for some reason cannot stand flat bill hats. He won't buy one or wear one, whatever. I found out later that Dustin told Troy after he commented that he didn't recognize me because I was wearing a hat. Dustin had said to him, "I hate that hat." So that's why Troy made that comment. It wasn't that he was really serious and didn't like my hat, but at the time, I thought that I had heard it. I thought he was being serious, and his comments still didn't affect me. How many of you would have been offended or pissed off by Troy's comment if he had said that to you? If someone said your hat was dumb. This story got me thinking about how often we suppress our true selves because of what others might think of us. How many of you truly don't mind what people think of you? If you truly don't mind what people think of you, you are off on an island all alone. There are not many of you out there. To achieve this state of mind, it can be extremely challenging. And I'll be real, most of the time, I don't mind what people think of me. However, there are times when it does matter to me. So what people think of me is really situational for me. But I'd say the majority of the time, I don't mind what people think of me. Let me expand on this a little bit. What I care the most about is what I think about myself and how I am showing up to the world. When I worked at Target, one of the greatest learning gifts I received was branding, and that branding extended to people as well. I discovered we are all our own personal brands walking around this earth, and I took this very seriously. My whole life, I've dressed to the best of my abilities. I wear clothes that make me look good. I enjoy looking good, wearing makeup every day, having my hair done nicely, wearing outfits that make me feel more confident. When I look good, I feel good. And I always want to show up in public and look put together. To me, this shows the world that I really care about myself, and I really truly do. I'm number one in my world. This doesn't mean I'm rude to others or care less about other people. It means I know myself extremely well and how I want to show up in the world. And that is with my hair done, a great outfit, makeup on, lipstick, and a vibrant smile, and spreading kindness to everyone I encounter. Like holding the door for people who are behind me, saying hello if I walk by someone on the street, picking up trash I see on the ground and throwing it in the garbage can, stuff like that. I also have high standards for myself. You'll never see me with pajamas on in public unless it's pajama day at a school and I'm volunteering in the classroom. The only time you'll see me in workout clothes is if I'm coming from the gym or I'm actually on a walk or a bike ride and I had to grab something at the gas station. It's my choice what I wear even when I'm out in public. Even during COVID, when we were in lockdown at home, my husband said, "Renee, you are one of the very few people on this planet wearing nice clothes every day and putting makeup on every day at home." And I was like, yep. Why do I do this? In addition to loving myself and having high standards for myself, I believe life is a celebration and we need to show up for it. So I want to look my best and feel my best every single day. If this is my last day here in this life, on this planet, you will all know I gave a damn about myself and I strive to be the best person I could be every day. I've even been asked sometimes if I run into someone I know at Costco, why I'm so dressed up. Or they'll say, "You look so fancy, where are you headed?" And I'll say, "I'm not going anywhere special. I'm dressed like this because life is worth showing up for." And a lot of times the look on their faces is like a look of surprise, like they never considered that before. I cherish each and every day that I wake up. It's a gift that I get to rock this life for yet another day. In the past, I remember a psychologist had said to me that as human beings, there is not a way we cannot truly 100% not care what other people think of us. As human beings, we judge everything that we see. That's how we make sense of the world. We are constantly judging things, and it's all based on our thoughts and our beliefs and our perceptions. The good news is that we'll never know what anyone thinks of us unless they tell us, and they most likely won't say anything at all. And I've proven this in my own life. I grew up with severe acne, which left massive scarring on my face. And I always had a desire to get rid of my scarring. Well, a few years ago, I did just that. I had a significant surgery, you could say, with microneedling and heavy-duty laser to remove several layers of my skin so that I could reduce my acne scars. I was put under for the whole procedure, and I'll never forget, before going through with it, the doctor asked me, "Why do you want to do this procedure, Renee?" He said, "When you're shopping at the grocery store and there's a person standing next to you at the checkout, they are seeing the whole Renee. They aren't seeing your acne scars." And I said, "That's fine. I don't mind what people think of me. I want this procedure done for me. So when I look in the mirror, I look good and I feel good." So after I had the procedure done, I couldn't go in public for like a week because I had really bad, it looked like I just walked out of a fire after this procedure. Then about 2 weeks in, all the scarring came off my face, and my skin looked like blaze red. It looked beautiful, but it was like blaze red, and I had to put this like Vaseline substance on my face at all times. At that time, I was sick and tired of being at my house. And so my husband and I went out to dinner, and I could see the looks. I looked bizarre. I agree. When I looked in the mirror, this blaze red face, I would have wondered what happened to me too. So we went to a restaurant in public, and I rarely don't wear makeup in public. And I was like, I got to get out of the house. I'm so sick and tired of being in the house and feeling isolated. So we went to dinner. Nobody said a damn thing about my face. No one asked me why my face was red. No one said anything if something happened. Nothing. Then the following few days, I had to go to my kids' conferences. That meant sitting down with every single teacher, one-on-one, multiple teachers, and guess what then too? Nobody said a damn thing or asked me a damn thing about my face. People are wonderful. Most people aren't going to say anything. They might see it and observe it, but they're not going to say anything to you about it. I have proof of that. So you might be wondering, Renee, why are you telling me all of these stories? Well, I'll tell you why. Because in this episode, we are going to be talking about how to be unapologetically you, no matter what. How to let go of the need for external validation and find true acceptance within. How to not mind what others think. How to avoid the trap of keeping up with the Joneses. So let's dive in and explore how you can embrace your authentic self and live a life that is truly fulfilling. We live in a world where we're taught to compare ourselves to one another. All throughout our education, we are competing for certain grades against the other students next to us. In sports, we're taught to be number one. Have you ever felt the pressure to conform to others' expectations? Have you found yourself constantly seeking validation from others or trying to keep up with societal standards? I remember doing this more way back when I was in middle school, wanting to have the name brand clothes, the Jabot jeans so I could fit in, so I could be popular. What a joke. If you feel pressure to conform, you're not alone. Let's start with embracing your authentic self. You are the one and only you on this planet. There is no one else like you. You were put on this planet for a reason, for a purpose. Being unapologetically you means showing up as your true self in every aspect of your life. How often are you doing this? For me, I am the same person, whether you see me in the office, whether you see me at a restaurant, a grocery store, or if you catch me at home. I am loud, full of energy, and a total ultimate optimist. I dish out compliments like they're going out of style. If I like something you're wearing and I'm behind you at the checkout aisle at Target, I'll totally tell you. I'll be like, oh, I love your shoes. I talk to complete strangers. I can't imagine not being myself. It feels uncomfortable inside my body if I'm not being my true, authentic self. Don't get me wrong. There were times in my life in the past where I did have to reduce my energy level, times when I've had to whisper just to talk at a normal person's volume level because my talking is like shouting. I know everyone that knows me well knows I'm very loud. And a lot of people think I'm loud because my mom is deaf. And I'm like, no, I'm loud because this is who I am. American Sign Language is pretty much a silent language, so I wouldn't be loud because of my mom not being able to hear. I've always been loud. My dad was loud too. Maybe I got it from him. Maybe it's genetics. When you feel like you can't express your true self, it can be utterly draining. We can only put on a show for so long before it just starts to wear us down. If it continues for too long, you risk losing touch with your true identity. And that can lead to feelings of depression. You might find yourself feeling angry, resentful, or even disconnected, not just from others, but from yourself as well. And when you're not being authentic, people will notice. You may not come across as genuine, which can affect how people perceive and interact with you. But here's the thing. As human beings, we are always changing, always evolving. You have the power to change your identity at any time. By altering your behaviors, you can achieve different results. Your characteristics can shift, and even your moods can influence your character. So let's break free from these constraints and learn to be unapologetically you. How do we break free? First, you gotta have self-awareness. Having self-awareness requires a commitment to being authentic. You may be thinking, what the hell does it mean to be self-aware, Renee? It's taking the time to understand your values, your passions, your strengths, what you stand for, what makes you unique. What are your core beliefs? Why do you get out of bed each day? What drives you? What do you enjoy doing? Reflecting on these questions and being 100% honest with yourself is a great start. Next, we need to have acceptance. Accept that you are a work in progress. We all are. Embrace your imperfections and understand that they are part of what makes you unique. Perfection's a fucking illusion. Authenticity is real. Lastly, we need to have courage. Courage is very different than confidence. Courage is when you keep moving forward in spite of not feeling confident. If you haven't been showing the world your authentic self, you're probably going to experience some fear when you start doing this. So this is where courage can kick in and help. Courage doesn't feel as good as confidence. When you need to lean on courage to get different results, you will have a period of time where you feel uncertainty, fear, maybe anxiety. It takes courage to be your true self, especially when it goes against the grain. And I'd say I go against the grain quite a bit. I talk loud. My laugh is even louder. I tell you exactly how I feel. I speak my mind. I'm direct. I talk to strangers. I compliment everyone if I see something I like. I'm authentic. I have the biggest open heart. I accept all people for who they are. If I hear a song I love, I'll start dancing no matter where I am. My body just starts moving. I love watching Formula One racing. Hamilton is my man. I love hot cars. I'll influence you to do things you haven't done before. You need courage to be brave in expressing your opinions, pursuing your passions, and setting boundaries. Remember, your authentic self is your greatest strength. You are amazing. Let's dig into talking about not minding what others think of you. This is definitely a learned behavior and can take loads of practice to achieve. It is human nature to seek approval, but letting go of this need can be incredibly liberating. When COVID hit, I noticed I wasn't as happy as I used to be being at home with just my family. I was reflecting on why I wasn't as happy as I was before, and I could see I was missing the interaction with people. And what I discovered is I had a strong need to be validated from people in my outside world, from those around me in person. I loved when people told me I did a good job or said I looked good or complimented me on my outfit. So I had to make a shift and focus on internal validation and validating myself. It's perfectly fine to recognize your own achievements, big and small, and celebrate them. We need to do more of this. Learn to trust your own judgment and intuition. If someone gives you feedback, you have a decision. You can either take it and do something with it, or you can totally leave it behind. When someone criticizes you, understand that criticism often says more about the person giving it than it does about you. Use constructive feedback to grow, but don't let negative opinions define you. When I worked at Target, our leadership always said, "Feedback is a gift." And I always rolled my eyes when that phrase was made. What I thought was, if someone gives me feedback and that's something that I want to change or improve upon, awesome. If I think their feedback is total fucking bullshit, I think to myself, hey, I'm glad they wanted to share that information with me, and I'm really glad they had the courage to do so. Then I just dismiss it and I don't think about it ever again. No one will ever walk in your shoes. No one will ever have the same perspective as you. No one will ever know your past and all the experiences that make up who you are. Let's dig into the ideology of keeping up with the Joneses. This means comparing yourself to others and striving to match their lifestyle or their achievements. This mindset can be detrimental to your happiness and self-esteem. I've been accused of being materialistic by someone in the past. And I gotta assume it's because I live in a big house, I have fancy cars, I have a Tesla Model S, an Audi SQ8, we have a 32-foot Regal yacht, and the funny thing is, if you really know me, you know I am not materialistic at all. Now, don't get me wrong. I love nice, quality, expensive things, but I don't just buy things for brand names and to show off. I buy the things I love. I buy the things that enhance my life, the things that bring me joy. So yes, the Tesla Model S was my dream car. I set some goals, I achieved them, and I bought the damn car. Yay me. The SQ8 was super hard to find, but I did the same thing. I knew I wanted it, set some goals. After hitting my goals, I bought it. These cars are just a couple examples of how I'm living my life for myself and no one else. I don't care what kind of car anyone drives. I do admire people who drive Bentleys, Aston Martins, Rolls Royces, Ferraris, on and on, because I think those are incredible vehicles. I have loved hot, exotic, fast cars ever since I was a young toddler. I used to play Matchbox cars with my brother. I had piles and piles of these little cars. And as a teenager, I didn't have posters of cute teen male actors on my bedroom walls. I had posters of a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. I have always loved cars. So hell yeah, I'm going to drive what I want to drive. And in all actuality, I actually don't even enjoy driving that much. If we were going somewhere together and you offered to drive, I'd be like, hell yeah, I prefer not to drive. I'd rather be the passenger. So now I want to ask you, how do you define success? Because a key to living authentically as who you are is to define success on your terms. Success is totally subjective. Define what it means to you personally, not based on societal standards, other people's achievements, or what others think. This is really important. We are all on different journeys in our lives. Everyone's journey is different. Focus on your own path, your own progress, and your own goals. Celebrate your milestones without comparing them to others. A great practice is to always use gratitude. Gratitude helps shift your focus from what you lack to what you have. Regularly practicing gratitude to appreciate your unique journey and the abundance in your life. You could do like I do. You could write down 3 things you're grateful for each day in a little journal. It sounds super simple, but it will change your life. What are ways we can start to live a life being our true selves? Number 1, have self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would offer a dear friend. Self-compassion builds a strong foundation for self-acceptance. I'll never understand why most people have loads of negative thoughts and beliefs running around up in our heads when we should cherish ourselves and be saying the most amazing things to ourselves. Now, if you followed me, you know I used to have 3,000 thoughts spinning around up in my head, and a ton of them were negative and awful. I've completely turned that around by dealing with my negative thoughts, writing them down on paper, and reframing them to positive statements. And that's how I started doing this years ago and when I began on my personal growth journey. Then, with practicing meditation, that's when it allowed my racing thoughts to actually stop and allow me to live into the present moment at hand. I used to be I wasn't just type A, I was type AAA. Couldn't sit still to watch a show or a movie. I always had to be hyper productive. Now I can sit down, enjoy a 2-hour movie, and completely relax. Last, I want to mention integrity. I'm all about living with integrity. When your actions reflect your true self, you naturally build self-acceptance and confidence. Being unapologetically you is a journey, not a destination. Requires self-awareness, courage, and commitment to authenticity. Remember, you are unique and the world needs your authentic self, so fucking bring it. This not only includes being your authentic in your personal life, but in your professional life too. Your career and what you do to make a living are key parts of that authenticity. If you're one of those people who feel stuck in your current role, want to make a change, want to start looking for a new job, but every time you try, you just end up more and more disappointed with all the rejection you receive, I have something incredible I want to invite you to next week. On Thursday, August 15th at 11 a.m. Central Time, I'm hosting an online live training where I'll be diving into why applying online is the least effective way to land a job you love and how you can take control of your career path. This training is entirely free, because I want to help you unlock the strategies that will get you noticed and help you land the job that's truly aligned with who you are. This training is going to be incredible, so I'd love to see you there. Spots are limited, so make sure you check the description in this episode to save your seat right away. So the key points from today's episode are: understanding your values, passions, and strengths will uncover your true, authentic self. Define success on your own terms to free yourself from the opinions of others. Use feedback as a tool for growth rather than letting it bring you down. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Share this episode with someone you love and go make one change to be better than you were yesterday. Live your life with intention. I believe in you. I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible, so if you would, please hit the follow button so we can grow our community of conscious professionals. Whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can find the button at the top of the page. See you next week. Cheers, everyone.